All right, everybody. Hello. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Emily Spranger. I'm an academic trainer in the Center for Teaching and Learning, and we are thrilled to be able to partner with VESC in their webinar series events. Couple of very brief housekeeping items. We are recording this and we'll post it in our CTL webinars LibGuide page later. Of course, it will also be available on our public YouTube channel. We absolutely want you to participate in the chat. This is going to be interactive. We have our presenter this evening has mentioned we will be heading to the Jamboard and being able to participate there as well. So ask your questions in the chat, have conversation in the chat. And I am going to go ahead and first introduce our presenter and then kick it over to Dr. Amy Lynn for very brief words before we get started. So Tina Allen has come to present today through VESC. Tina is a transformational leader with a proven record of 25 plus years of generating and developing intercultural relationships, managing projects from concept to completion, designing organizational strategies, creating adult learning and development programs, and coaching individuals to success. Tina is an experienced in management, organizational development, and professional development and training. She has extensive experience as an accomplished educator in pre-K through secondary education, and Tina has worked with students from various racial, ethnic, social, economic, and educational backgrounds. She holds a teaching license in pre-K to third grade with an endorsement for fourth and fifth grade. And Tina Allen, last but not least, is one of our current NCU doctoral students in the School of Education. So we're so thrilled that you're here to present today, Tina. I do want to introduce Dr. Amy Lynn, our director of the Virtual Education Support Center, and also assistant professor for the School of Education, as she is the one who has brought Tina to our CTL webinar series, and we're super grateful for that. So Dr. Amy Lynn, any welcoming message you would like to start off with?
Thank you, Emily. I appreciate that warm welcome. I'm Dr. Amy Lynn. I'm the director of VESC, as Emily said, and we started the Ed Break series last year, shortly after VESC launched, and I'm so excited to be able to have another series going this year focused on the tools and techniques for online learning. And it is really exciting that we had so many people involved in K-12 teaching and learning apply to present, and I'm just thrilled that Tina is here to talk with us about Jamboard. It's going to be a new experience for me. And thank you so much for being here, Tina.
Thank you. Okay, so I am ready to present. Thank you, Emily, for that great introduction. And thank you, Amy, for having me a part of the Ed Break presentation. I really appreciate that. We are going to get started. The title of this presentation is Jamming with Jamboard. It is created and presented by me, Tina Allen. We are going to start with our agenda. We're going to do a bit of learning about me. We are going to jump right into the Jamboard. We're going to do a little bit of a weather check. So we do encourage you, if you can, if you are near your computer or laptop, to participate along with us. We will discuss the why behind Jamboard, the collaborative learning, the fun factor, the how to use Jamboard, and how do we use teaching and learning, talking about sample lesson planning. What resources did I use to actually come up with the presentation? Resources for collaborative learning and for the fun factor. We've already heard a little bit about me, but I always love to share my family, the inspiration behind what I do. I'm a mother, grandmother, sister, aunt, cousin, and friend. I enjoy reading, spending time with my family. I love sports, History Channel, and my passion is really teaching. I really love and feel very blessed that I'm gifted and accepted the calling, as I like to say, to see others grow. I don't take that lightly, and I really enjoy seeing that. I have my daughter and her husband, and I have two lovely grandchildren. Olivia is the oldest. We have Kylie and baby Carson. And my bachelor's degree is from the Ohio State University. And please note, I did not initially start off in a teaching degree. I have a background in business. And so I would say officially, professionally, I got started my journey to get my educational degree after the bachelor's. So there's a little bit about me more. I don't want to talk in depth about some of these details, but I do wanted to highlight that I do have extensive experience in education. I have taught pre-K through secondary education, mentored all ages and backgrounds, and 25 years of teaching in educational leadership. And I am proud to say that I'm a doctoral student at North Central University. We are going to jump right into Jamboard, and we're going to do a little weather check. I also wanted to note this weather check is something that could be used a part of the teaching and learning component to the Jamboard during circle time, and we'll talk a little bit about that more. But I want to learn a little bit more about the individuals or participants that are a part of this presentation. Emily, if
Yes.
you can, share, copy and paste the link to everyone for
Absolutely.
the Jamboard.
It's in the chat, so feel free to open chat if you haven't already, participants, and there is a link in there that will take you to our Jamboard. Please do pop something in the chat if for some reason you are not able to access it. I will keep my eye on that as we move forward.
Thank you so much, Emily. So you should be able to see my Jamboard. This is a weather check. We're going to talk about the features in more details a little bit later on in the presentation, but I want to show you how easy it is for students to navigate through Jamboard. I am going to show you the feature with the sticky notes, and probably that's one of the most essential functions of the Jamboard is the sticky note. I would like for you to, hopefully you can see my screen, please let Emily know if you have any issues. You're going to click on to the left, the sticky note, okay, in our little bar, okay, in our bar here. Click on the sticky note. You can choose yellow, you have green, blue, pink, and orange. So you can choose whatever color. I'm going to choose yellow. The question that I would like for you to answer is your name. So I will put my name. Okay. And how are you feeling today using the weather? I am feeling sunny. And maybe something unique about yourself. I love rodeo. Okay. And we will give you about 1 minute to complete that exercise. And as you can see, I can move the sticky notes around. I can enlarge them. Okay. So I can go ahead and start reading some of the weather checks. However, if I was in a classroom setting, Emily, would it be okay if someone wanted to volunteer to unmute themselves to actually do an introduction? If we can get a couple of volunteers to do that?
Yes, if folks do want to unmute, they are welcome to do that. And to share. Yeah, that is an option if you'd like to do that.
Okay.
Folks, if anybody wants to unmute, you can hover over the bottom of your mute option, hopefully your microphone in your Zoom, and you are welcome to do that.
Okay.
That's okay.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
is perfectly fine. I'm just very happy that you chose to actually participate, and hopefully you can see that it's relatively easy to, click on the sticky note, to choose a color and put it actually on the frame. This is actually called a frame. So I'll just read Amy. I'm feeling sunny. We have Tyrants, cloudy with a chance of rain. Just for fun to look at the sticky note options. Okay, so we will continue on. Thank you. Let's read all of them. Jamming, I had rain today. Okay, let's continue. Okay, so we are going to now move on with starting with the why. The theory and the research behind why do we do, we've already done our introductions. We did some share out. In the chat, can you please describe one word that describes your feeling about this exercise? As you was doing the sticky note, and even if you didn't get a chance to do the sticky note, just by viewing and looking at what the other participants was putting up there, and as I was reading them, think about the presentation of the frame and the sticky notes on there. So in the chat, we're just going to give like maybe 30 seconds or so. What is one word that describes your feeling about this exercise? Do you think it was fun? You think it was, what was your thoughts and feelings as you were doing this exercise?
Okay.
And if Emily can share out for us.
Absolutely. So engage, temperature literally for energy. So I'm going to say the word energy. I know this isn't one word, but I think the kids would enjoy it.
Okay.
So maybe just enjoy.
Okay.
Couple of other things. Again, not one word, but this is another piece, but get to know folks.
Okay.
So that's what's popping up in the chat right now.
Okay, thank you so much. Oh, I may have to utilize as a subtitle, engage, energy, and enjoy. Oh, thank you. I love that. And so we heard engage, we heard energy, enjoy, and community. Okay, thank you for sharing out. Okay, let's go a little bit further into the why. We heard from some of our participants, some of the feelings that they described, the feelings that they felt as they was doing this activity. So let's go a little bit deeper into some of the research behind this type of exercise. It promotes collaborative learning. And we know as educators, even as professionals, the benefits of collaborative learning. So the benefits of collaborative learning include the development of higher level thinking when you work in groups and you don't always just work in isolation and you work with other people outside of yourself. You get the opportunity to hear different language, and it promotes that higher level of thinking. Oral communication. Because as individuals put up sticky notes, what I used to do during circle time, I was strictly an online instructor for 1 year when I worked in Charlotte City Schools district. Students would come in the morning, I would put music on, they would do their weather check, and we didn't have, unfortunately, a physical classroom, but we could still have that circle time, and students could practice their oral communication by reading out loud, hello, and I would ask them to put it in complete sentences. And as the year we got along in our year, students were able to even articulate more clearly, make sure they spoke in complete sentences, making sure that they wrote in capital letters and put periods. Hello, my name is Tina. I am feeling sunny. Self-management and leadership skills. A promotion of student-faculty interaction. So as students are putting up their sticky notes, I get the opportunity to give immediate real-time feedback to individual students or to a group of students who are participating. There is an increase in student retention, as someone mentioned in the chat. Students feel engaged. When students feel engaged and learning is taking place in a fun, enjoyable way, they're more likely going to be able to stay focused. It increased self-esteem and responsibility, and exposure to an increase in understanding of diverse perspectives. When we hear diverse perspectives, and we get an opportunity to learn from each other, okay? And this is where growing takes place. The joy factor. This is something that we would love to have with our students, the joy factor, that every student is focused, is engaged, and is enjoying learning. It builds students' sense of belonging to a unique school of classroom culture. The Jamboard promotes collaborative learning, which promotes community. And this is from Teach Like a Champion 2.0, if anyone has read that. And they also have a newer version as well. The benefits of the joy factor: it's easy transition. You can quickly turn it on and off. So it's so important that joy becomes a part of the work and not a break from it. Oh, we're getting ready to take a brain break. And then students' mind automatically know, brain break, it's fun, it's going to be engaging. But joy should never be taken away from any aspect of the classroom. Joy should be a part of the work and not a break from it. Okay. Before we go on, Emily, I think this is a good time if anyone has any questions or some suggestions or feedback they want to share at this point in regards to some of the benefits of using the Jamboard, as it promotes collaborative learning and it also promotes the joy factor in the classroom. Anyone has any suggestions or feedback or comments at this time?
Absolutely. And I'll wait to see if anybody else has a question or feedback or comments about the Jamboard piece. I'm going to wait, but I was just thinking, this is not only a Jamboard isn't something that you would necessarily just use in the K through 12 setting. I could see how it would be beneficial for any online environment.
Yes.
Right. So even just people that work remote as well, too, being able to communicate and collaborate through Jamboard as well. So I wanted to add that piece as well, too, because I could see how it would be a beneficial tool in that realm as well, too. So I'm just going to wait just another moment to see. Oh, one other question. Is this free? Is Jamboard free?
Jamboard is free, and I am going to show you in a few minutes here how to access the Jamboard. Of course, with anything else, I don't know if anybody used Kahoot. I'm sure you do as Kahoot. We've used it in professional settings. We've used it in educational settings. It used to be free. They would give you the data from the test. But just like anything else, you get used to it. It is free unless your school purchase it. There's a free, and then there's also a paid version. So therefore, if you get the paid version, then you're going to get access to more features.
Okay.
So
yeah, so yes, it is, but also you could pay for it for more
Correct.
features. And then Dr. Lynn just popped in the chat. Absolutely. I could use this to make meetings more interactive as well too, from between colleagues. Absolutely. Okay. I think that's it for now.
Okay, thank you. And so thank you, Emily and Amy, for those comments. That is very important that in a professional setting, if you're having a meeting online, you would ask people sometimes to share out. So instead of maybe doing a verbal share out, that individuals can put a sticky note, and especially for people who have to do, they're the secretary, they have to take the notes. For professors, they have that information that they can take with them, and then they can transcribe into more of a academic or professional language. Okay.
And I'm so sorry, Tina, but just to pause, just to hop on that comment right there. Another thing too, just like as a way of creating a community and collaboration, I think it's really nice too. Like maybe it's a way of like sharing kudos with each other from a team setting as well too. I'm sorry, I'll pause there. That's it.
No, thank you. I love this. I love this. And we did a Jamboard, because I was online, I did online instruction for 4th grade, and we create Jamboards to send with students. At the end of the school year, students could put little notes on there. And I'm telling you, you let this give access to the Jamboards to students, and they will take it to another level. They were creating images, they were doing creative things with the frame. So they were really having a lot of fun with it. I will caution, when you're using the Jamboard, unfortunately, and I'm not sure if that is in the paid feature or not, some students would erase the students' sticky notes. I had some issues with that. So you really have to set the parameters in the beginning in using Jamboard, because you just don't unleash it. But you definitely have to set out parameters so students can be respectful of the process. And another thing, and we'll get into this a little bit later, is that when you finish your lesson, I will show you what you need to do to preserve the content so students won't go back and delete things that you might need to show again in your next class. Okay.
Thank you so much, Tina, and I'm so sorry to interrupt you, but I think Dr. Lynn wants to add a little something to this part of the conversation.
Yes, thank you.
I have a comment and a question, Tina. So, one of the things that I think is really kind of magical about this kind of a tool is for introverts who might not otherwise have a chance to participate or know how to step in, particularly in the online environment. I think that can be really tricky. I think that's true for adults. It's true for me in some meetings, right?
Yes.
And it can be hard to know, when is it my turn to speak? I'm not really sure. But this kind of lets everyone speak at once because they're typing and they're putting things on there. What has been your experience with that?
In regards to the introverts participating?
Well, or anyone, like just kind of leveling the playing field and making sure that everyone gets to be an active participant.
Oh, it was magical. I'm so happy that I found it because I was, in an online setting. I had a majority of speakers, students were speakers of other languages. So it's very hard sometimes for them to speak orally because they feel uncomfortable, and they have to build their confidence. So to get them to put the word, even if they did not articulate a full sentence, they would put a picture of a sun, the sun, to demonstrate that they're feeling sunny. And then I can draw from that, oh, thank you, Hector or Maria or Savannah. I see that you put a sun up there. Would you say that you're feeling happy today? Yes. Right. So I'm getting them I had to find a creative way to collect information and to get students to collaborate without them feeling afraid, kind of breaking up that fear factor. And also for students who are struggling, it's magical. They'll see another high-level student typing up the correct answer, and then they'll type up the same thing, which is okay for me because they're learning from each other. So
yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And I just think for idea generation at the adult level, where it might not be, a language challenge, it might be, but just to be able to level that playing field so that everyone can participate in that idea generation could be so useful. Thank you.
You're welcome. So what is Google Jamboard? I think that we've talked about some of that. It is a digital whiteboard, similar to what you would see in a Zoom digital whiteboard. And it provides the ability to collaborate in real time. And I do apologize, the Jamboard that's on the screen is a little blurry, but however, it does show you, if you can kind of just look at the stickies, the sticky notes, the picture, how creative and colorful that it can be. It is free. You just need a Google account to access it, but you can pay for a different version of it. You can pay, and that will give you more features. And typically that's for the professional setting, because you can do so many more creative things with that. Okay. To my next page. Okay, we are going to get into how to use the Jamboard. And again, if you can, oops, sorry, not sure what happened there. If you look to the Jamboard that I have on the board, I would utilize a setup similar to this if I was doing a KWL chart. What do you know? So if my lesson was about the American Revolution, okay, I would put the title, The American Revolution, or maybe in a professional setting, we are talking about diverse populations what is it that you already know about? What is it you want to learn? And what is it that, what do you know? What do you want to learn? And what do you do? What have you learned? And it can be in columns so that you can see that. So there's so many creative ways to set the Jamboard up. I'm going to show you how to access the Jamboard, how to create a Jamboard, and we are going to look at some of the features. So you don't have to open up the Google if you don't want to, but however, I do encourage you, if you like, to please follow along with us, okay? So I am going to get out of this. I'm going to go to Google, and I know everyone probably has a really easier way to do this, okay? So you would go to the Google, the home page here. You will go to the square, the 3x3 square. Click on the Google Apps. And Miss Emily, tell me if I'm going too fast.
No, you're doing good. I'm actually following along with you.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so then you would go down to Jamboard. Click on that. Okay. Then once you click on it, there is this plus sign, colorful plus sign. Go ahead and click on that. And voila, you have the Jamboard. Okay. Then let's look at some of the feature. Go ahead and put a title. I'm going to put, I'm just going to put my name. Put a title there. Do encourage you to put a date if you are doing a continuation of a lesson and you want to use it the next day. So sometimes dating things will be very important to keeping track of things in the continuum of a lesson. Here, this little lens, we have the zoom. Okay. And you can go zoom in, you can zoom out, and then you can also change the fit. Okay. I typically usually stay at 50%, but whatever you feel is good for you, you can do that. Then you can set the background if you want to have dots, blue line, there's different features, okay? And then here, you can also, this is something new they didn't have before, from up here in the bar, once you set the background, you can also select a file and upload a picture. So I'm just going to go to Google image search, and I'm just going to put in a happy face. Then I will, select whatever picture I want. Copy that image. And then I think you have to do Control V. Or maybe I can just do paste. Okay. Let me see this again. Image. Wait, no, I don't want to do that. I want to go here, add image, and I want to do copy image. Go back to my Jamboard. I have too many Jamboards open. Then Control V, or not sure why it's not working there. But let's go here to the image here and see if add image works there. Of course, that always happens. Oh, maybe I'm supposed to do insert.
Oh, there we go.
Did you get your, who got their, oh, there it goes. Oh my gosh, I'm totally learning something new. This is which I like this. And I'll tell you why, because if we go here and there is the add image, I don't believe that if you, yep, I didn't know, you can just click insert and it goes right in there. Okay, or is it Control V? Yeah. Oh, it's there, but it's at the bottom.
Yeah, some reason it's down at the bottom when you do the insert, but that's okay.
Yeah, that's okay. Okay. And then if you want to clear the frame, that just erases everything. I'll just go ahead and do that. Then we have present to a meeting. If you set up a Google meeting, you can present to a meeting, but it has to already be scheduled in your calendar. Then you can rename your Jamboard. You can download it as a PDF if you wanted to print it out and send it out in an email. Or make copies of it so that you can share it with students when you're having a conversation, or they can take it home for study notes, or you can send it, attach it to Google Classroom. You can save the frame as an image, you can remove the Jamboard, make a copy of it. And so earlier I had made a comment that unfortunately my fourth grade students, someone would put a sticky note up there, they would erase the sticky note and do all, kind of crazy things with it. So what I would do is I would make a copy of the Jamboard, and I'm just going to put 2 so that I now had the Jamboard and it wouldn't be compromised if students, because they have access to it and they're always going to have access to it. So I would make a copy for myself. So when I brought it up the next day, it wouldn't be compromised. It would be left in the same way that I left it. But I also encourage students to have it so that they could study from it and make notes on it. And they would use it if they wanted to write a paper, a research paper, we would put notes on it. So, and then they would take that information and write up an essay or paragraph. This is a good place to stop. And if anyone has any questions before we move on to the rest of the features.
Okay, great tip on the make a copy. Couple of other things. I have two screens, I have two monitors. So my other screen, as I've been looking over here, is because I am staring at my new test Jamboard.
Okay.
First of all, I literally had no idea that this app even existed. And
Wow.
I'm excited. I'm super excited that I've learned something new here. I hope our other participants are learning something new. Maybe everybody knows about it and I'm living in a hole. But any questions, any thoughts right now from our attendees? If you do want to ask a question, feel free to let me know in the chat. You can always unmute as well too. Let me know if you need anything, attendees. But great tip on making a copy, certainly.
And there also is another tip that you could go back to the Jamboard and restrict, you know, how you share the original. So let's go back to here. So if you don't want it to be compromised, but you still want students or your colleagues to have access to it, you would go to share and just simply change the restriction features, right? Make it, because right now I haven't shared it with anyone, but if I wanted to share it with my students so we can write on it in class, I would change it so anyone with the link, but when we finish class, I could go back and change the restriction. So only I could make changes to it. So though that's just that's a tip. If I can say anything, just setting parameters around students really taking serious the tool and enjoying it and the benefits of it. And then also making sure that if it's something that you want to say, hey, remember yesterday we started our discussions about what we knew about pollination and what we learned, what you want to learn. So let's go back to what we learned and talk about that. You'll have that and it hasn't been compromised. Then you have the pen. So if you want, I typically don't use this as much, but you may want to use the pen, and then of course you can erase if you needed to. Then we have select. So for instance, if I had a picture, let me go back here.
And as you're navigating that space, Tina, someone was asking if we could define what Jamboard is. I actually looked up the definition. Did you want me to share it?
Yes.
So someone in the chat again asking what is please define Jamboard, and Google support defines Jamboard as a digital whiteboard that lets you collaborate in real time using the Jamboard device, which is in the Google Suites, which is what we're playing with today.
Yes.
Sorry, Tina, going back to
thank you.
image.
Thank you. And I was trying to look, that's all they provide, the description. So it's just a learning tool. And as I said before, it's for collaborative learning. It's another way to bring a little bit of joy and engagement into the classroom. And we always never want to take a break from joy in anything that we're doing in the classroom. So if I hit the select, it's supposed to select this item. So let me just go to the text box. And I think that's why I'm going to undo this. Sorry, guys. So let's go back to the select, but before I do the select, I am going to go to the text box feature, put the text box in, then I can write something in there. And this never happens.
Can I ask you a question while you're doing your text? Two things. One, it seems you do not have to be in a Google Classroom to use this tool. Is that accurate? You don't necessarily have to be in a Google Classroom to access Jamboard.
Correct. You do not. What I would have typically done is if I wanted students to access it, like if they would go to the announcement for today, then I would just simply put the link there and they can click on the link.
Okay. Okay. And then a second question, and it has to do with the restricted link and then the anyone link. You can just simply copy the link, and then if it's restricted, people will be able to access it, but not necessarily be able to edit it.
Correct.
Okay, thank you. Sorry, thank you for that.
No problem. So I have hello there in the text box. And then if I go to select, you can just select the item, or if I had a picture in there, it's just, hover over what you want, and then you could make it larger, you could edit, and all the rotation. You could rotate the text. So that is what the select is. I could duplicate the text. So if I was doing the KWL chart, what is it that you know? What do you want to know? And what have you learned? That is what I would do, if I want to duplicate this. And then I would take my pen and just draw a line to make, a line. So that's what that's about. And then you could, we already have the add image feature. We talked about that. Then this is the circle. Okay, and put a circle there. And then this is the laser. So if you did have, you wanted to highlight, I need everybody to draw their attention to this hello. Or maybe you have a picture. What do you notice about this picture? What do you wonder about this picture? And then have students to write maybe you wanted to highlight a student's sticky note. And of course, we have, the sticky note. Okay, so if I had my laser, I could move the sticky note around and I could say, oh, great job, Javier. I could, so those are the basic functions or features, or functions in order to use the Jamboard. Any question? Oh, it's 6:47, so I need to wrap up. Very quickly, I'm going to go back to my slideshow. So learning in the classroom. How can Jamboard be incorporated into your lessons? I'm going to continue to talk, but however, I would love to hear from individuals about what they feel we can learn in the classroom, how we can use Jamboard for learning in the classroom. And I did leave space for this on the Jamboard if you wanted to put how Jamboard can be used in the classroom, because and the reason we want to put on the Jamboard, because this has been shared with everyone, so it's something that they can keep and go back to at a later time, or if you want to simply put it in the chat, you can do that as well. Okay, so let me push enter. If anybody is putting anything in the chat, Emily can stop me. So learning in the classroom, you can do an introduction to a lesson. I've already said that. What is it, do you know about fractions? What do you know about fractions? So that students can put their sticky notes on there. So it's a way to kind of grab students' attention and get them engaged and excited about writing something about that. You can do it as a check-in. Good morning, everyone. We're going to do a check-in. Tell me how you're feeling this morning. I've used superhero. Using a superhero, what superhero best describes how you're feeling today? Using a fruit, what feeling best describes how you're feeling today? Using an animal, using a color. So it's just a way to kind of gauge a check-in, and it also gives you an opportunity to gauge how students are feeling. Oh, I'm feeling really red today because I'm sad. So it's not just about asking a question, but you're kind of getting a feel about how a student is feeling, how the classroom culture is today, or climate for today. And if a student is constantly putting something on there that's a little bothersome, maybe you can do a little check-in with them a little bit later. Oh, I know you were feeling a little sad today. Are you doing better? Circle time, especially in an online environment. I could not physically put my students on the carpet, or we were not able to stand up in a circle. But online, I would go through everyone and they would read there. I would say, okay, good morning, Tyrese, can you go ahead and read your sticky note? And we went around to every student for circle time. Check for understanding. Now that we've talked about Jamboard, can you go ahead and place on the Jamboard frame number 3 what you learned about Jamboard? And please make sure to put your name on there. Formative assessment, given the opportunity right before a summative assessment to kind of assess what students know, what they don't know. Presentation, it's another tool that students can use to make a presentation on a particular topic. And you could also add links for quizzes. Go ahead and go to Framework 6, click on that link and go ahead and start your quiz for today.
There were a couple of things that popped up in the chat in terms of using it from your original question. Another piece is classroom groups can report the results of a discussion or a lab experience to the class through Jamboard. Just one of the things that Karen shared. And then I'd like to just share that this would be something that I would use during a team meeting. Where I wanted to kick it off and make it more engaging as well too, instead of just like diving right into business. I think from a remote position, this would be something that I'd like to maybe just kind of do get to know you games through Jamboard as well too. So like a temperature check for how people are feeling, how they're doing, or just kind of even just to get to know you a piece as well. Just two things that came to mind as we've been exploring this tool.
Thank you. And I like the opportunity when you said team meetings, and I'm actually having a meeting this weekend when you can share the link with everyone and then assign a particular frame to each breakout group. And so when they come back, it's easily to see what they've written, and then you can see it on the screen. You can kind of go through that, and then other people can then collaborate on their frame. So,
Yes. Yeah. And my husband is an administrator at an elementary school, so I'm going to be telling him all about this tool.
Oh, great.
Thank you so much, Tina. Anybody else have any other ideas or questions that you want to share about the Jamboard? And I'll just, go ahead, Tina.
Oh, I was just going to say, please feel free to put any comments and feedback about the session. I would love to hear that as well. Okay.
Go ahead, Vanessa, go ahead.
Sorry, I've been in and out, dropping in and coming in, but
no worries.
Thank you again for this presentation. I'm going to be teaching at an all-boys Jewish school in the fall, which is pretty much a different experience in my 24 years of teaching. So I'm thankful for this because one of the things I like to do with teaching reading is conduct debates about, the characters, decisions, behaviors, etc. So I would use this also for that. If we create a question of debate of perspectives, they can put their different viewpoints on the Jamboard using the sticky notes. And it's relatively quick. So you can get everybody's viewpoint quickly, and they can work collaboratively and produce a result quickly. So that's the thing. It's only a 32-minute class. So thank you so much, Tina. Appreciate
Oh,
it.
you're welcome. I really appreciate that, Vanessa. And I hope that you have an engaging and fun time with your students. And if they're engaged and they're having fun, they will learn.
I have one.
Oh, go ahead, Vanessa.
I'm so sorry to keep jumping in on
No
you.
worries. Oh my gosh, no worries.
Okay. I wanted to know, because one option it said was that they can write their story and they have limited, unlimited number of pages, and then it can be printed off. Could you show that or give a link to how we can expound on that?
Well, the one thing I do know, did you see the function here under these 3 dots? You can download it as a PDF. Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, I was wondering, how did people use it to create their stories? Because that was one of the items it listed on that page. You had a page that showed a host of ways Jamboard could be used, and that was one of the ways delineated.
Okay, let's see.
It was a little blurry, that slide.
Oh, and you know what? That was something right here. Was it here?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is one I found off of Google just to show you some of the ways it could be utilized and how engaging it can be. So write your story. So it would using the text feature. So, here you can do the title page, right? This could be the title. Then if you go to the next one, then you could do another text box, and then they could write the story here. And then they could also add pictures to it. So I would just use the text box to write text in it, and then you can add a picture. So it's like a digital book. That's what I'm assuming that's about.
Almost similar to slides. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Got it.
And so if I was going to talk about this page, then I would add a text box to it. I never even, okay, then let's see, add image. Oh my gosh. It's so different when you're actually being watched doing this, teaching it. So this is, my title page would be the animal had could, right? And then I would have a picture of an animal. Then I would go into the next page in my story. Yep. Or maybe if you're talking about the elements of a story, like setting, characters, main idea, you could have those different vocabulary words. You could have a picture with it and the actual words. And then for an introduction, like, what is setting? What do you think setting is? And then students can put their words up there.
Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah, you can even do a collaborative story, like start off with a sentence and then someone else comes in. Okay, add on. It's like an icebreaker.
Yes, there's so many different things. Yes.
Awesome. Thank you.
Vanessa, I like that idea of building a story together in collaboration that way.
And make it funny. Or
Yeah.
That's cool. Thank you.
Yeah, I like that idea. Tina, would you mind just kind of hovering over the left-hand side of the Jamboard and showing us where the sticky note is?
Yes.
Someone was just asking how to access the sticky note.
So it's like the 1, 2, 3, 4th feature or function. So just go there. It brings it up. You can pick whatever color and you type the text, and then it just shows up, and then you can place it anywhere. Then you can enlarge it if you want.
And I just popped in the chat my restricted Jamboard link that I did while you were kind of showing us around on how to utilize it. And I took, I just copied the link. I took the promo for this webinar and basically imported that. So it's got the VESC Jamming with Jamboard with NCU student Tina Allen, and then basically just use the sticky note just to test it out. So I'll happily send you that link too, Tina, just because I think it's kind of fun that it highlights your presentation here and some of the functions that you've showed us here in Jamboard. And this is such a great engaging tool. Dr. Lynn says, fantastic job presenting, Tina. Thank you for sharing your knowledge and experience with us. So
thank you so much. I'm really appreciative and happy to help students and adults to grow and learn. And that research supports that when students learn through music, through movement, through joy, that they retain the information more and they learn faster.
Great job, Tina. Really, I one of the things that stood out to me during this presentation is how calmly you modeled for us how to problem solve with technology. You didn't get flustered at all. It was masterful. And I think sometimes we're, as educators, afraid to try a new tech tool because we're afraid that we might not get it perfect. And I just think you did such a lovely job of showing us that it's okay. You celebrated your learning and your growth right before our very eyes. So thank you so much. It was truly a pleasure to watch your presentation and to learn about Jamboard from you. Thank you.
Oh, you're so welcome. Thank you so much for the comments.
absolutely. And Tina, is there anything else that you'd like to say in closing about Jamboard before I wrap up?
Nothing about Jamboard other than if people needed to reach me, if they have additional comments, my information is there. And so Emily, I do want to thank you for helping and being a great partner. And Amy, thank you for the opportunity. Thank you to all the participants. I just want to reiterate that making sure that the joy is a part of the work and it's not a break from the work. And then you will see results academically and socially in building a community and culture of learning and fun.
I love that so much, Tina. Is that your way of going? I'm wondering if you're quoting someone. I'm like, is this a Tina Allen quote?
Well, it's a Tina Allen quote. Write that down.
Oh my goodness, I love that. Thank you so much.
Actually, it derives from the teaching like a champion.
Okay, nice.
So I just put my own spin on it, and it really inspired me because in class when we say, "Oh, we're taking a brain break," they're like, "Yay, we're gonna have fun now." But that they're having so much fun that students are still working like, "Oh, I want to get my sticky note up there." It's like, okay, it's time. We want to just. And we need that, especially now, and you've been teaching for a while, we tend to forget that.
Absolutely. And in the chat said, a few folks have mentioned, great point, glad I came, remember the joy. Mm-hmm. And I think on that note, I'm going to say thank you so much to our attendees. Thank you so much, Tina Allen, for showing us this wonderful resource to engage. And it's really in multiple platforms, right? In the classroom for certain, but it's clear that you could use this in any online environment. So yes. Thank you so much for doing that. And until the next time, I hope everybody has a great rest of their evening. And I'm just going to leave you with remember the joy and have a good evening. Take care.
Thank you. Take care.
Bye-bye.